We're here to try to fill you in on a really useful part of gardening that has unique applications, and that's what you might call the art of espaliering.
Hi friends! If you enjoy this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and click on the bell so you are notified every Sunday when we post a new video.
We wanted to start out this video by showing you that almost anything can be espaliered. Even big trees can be espaliered if you start them young and get them trained properly, and then are willing to do the pruning, because if it's a big tree and you're trying to grow it flat, which is what espalier means, we're going to grow it flat along a wall or on a fence or some type of trellis. An example that I'm standing by is a fruiting cherry tree. This is a 3-in-1 cherry tree. It's grafted with 3 different cherries. We're right here in the middle of May with some beautiful cherries on it that I've started to eat, and they're fantastic. They're just before being fully ripe, but because I'm eager, I've already started eating them. To do just a simple espalier is actually fairly low maintenance and fairly easy. The cherries, the mandarin oranges will still bear fruit. You could even do something as unlikely as an oleander. You could do something as unlikely as a palo verde tree. Almost anything can be espaliered. I've espaliered some nice magnolias. Be creative. You can espalier almost anything you want to espalier. I use kind of what you might call an informal type of espalier, where I'm just growing things flat and tying them to fences or something. This is an espalier like you might buy in a nursery, and then you would prune it some. I haven't pruned it yet because it has apples on it. The 3 apples are Fuji, Brayburn, and Yellow Delicious. First we'll pick the apples, we'll prune it, and then we'll attach it to the fence, and then we'll continue to manage the growth of it so that it grows flat along this fence. At my house, on my property line, I just roughly espaliered a Pixie Crunch apple by just pruning it flat. There's not even a fence there, and that is even more informal than this. You could see the nursery that trained this, there's some structure to it, and that's a little more like a formally structured espalier. We were just looking at the apple, and that one has support. You're going to attach it to the fence, but you can also do espaliers without support, and the espaliers without the support just require you to prune it a certain way. So they're that flexible. You can be supporting an espalier or figuring out a way to just trimming it in a way that you don't even have any support. These espaliers are very much informal espaliers, where we're not really doing anything special in terms of a pruning technique other than keeping them flat and attached to a fence, and that is ultra simple. You can take some of the longest branches. Let's say it had longer branches here, like this one. So let's say this one was a little higher, and you just attach it to the fence and tie it, and then it continues to grow, and eventually you can cover this whole fence. Or since these are a little lower, I would just tend to come and cut these off to a bud, hopefully a bud that's pointed like it's going to grow and spread along the fence. I like these are semi-dwarf limes and mandarin oranges because they're not as big. The plant itself doesn't get as big as a lemon or a grapefruit, which are a little harder to espalier because they just want to grow so much. These are easier to keep under control, and so this is how we control them. Essentially, we prune it flat. We leave leaves here and there because we want it to have a lot of leaves. That fuels more growth. This is a nice one. We'll tie it to the fence there, and that'll keep growing that way. And we'll find sprouts like that all here and there that we can tie to the fence, and get this to spread out more, and we'll flatten it. If you don't do this now and then, its natural form will begin to be so dominant that it's hard to correct. So you need to do this really as soon as it sprouts new growth. You want to be controlling it so that it can't turn into a big tree growing in the middle of a fence. The last part is to make sure it grows a lot, and if it grows a lot, you can train it and you can get it to accomplish your goals with it quickly. So we water it with drip irrigation, we water it deeply, and we feed it with our Optimize, Maximize, and nourish-biosol. Let's say we wanted to emphasize new growth, we'd probably use more nourish-biosol because that has the macronutrients in it. Sometimes we've had customers that say, oh, I want to do a cleanup, let's spray a pesticide everywhere just to kill everything. That's really a bad philosophy because most of the things are useful in some way. I mean, we don't want destructive things like grasshoppers and such. And even aphid in heavy infestations aren't good for the plant, but very light aphid isn't a problem. Hopefully there are beneficials right behind that. And if we're feeding the soil properly, there's all kinds of natural mechanisms in the plant that make themselves unattractive to these pests and diseases. So our recommendation for maximizing the health of this grapefruit and any espalier you're trying to grow, it would be twice per year applications of blend, or you can buy the products separately. The first year I used Penetrate also, and I haven't used it since. Usually that's something I don't use on an ongoing basis unless I have some specific problem that I think Penetrate will address. But I usually use it as part of the initial startup phase, and then I stick to the nourish-biosol, maximize, and optimize.
Hello again, friends. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on the bell. If you enjoyed this video as much as I did, be sure to let us know in the comments below. Want to learn more about our products? Head over to our website, www.johnandbobs.com.